This is a 2024 Jetta GLI. Everybody knows I'm not a Volkswagen fan, but I'll show the pluses and minuses, and the owner is totally honest about it. Now, it comes with a 4-year, 50,000-mile warranty, but the guy who bought it's no fool. He paid $1,900 for the Volkswagen 100,000-mile, 10-year warranty because he knows it's a Volkswagen, right? He likes it, it's zippy, and he paid $28,000 for it, so it's a relatively low-priced car these days. Now, you might wonder why people still buy Volkswagens, right? Are they all crazy? Well, maybe they're crazy to some extent, but for $28,000 to get a zippy car like this with the 6-speed manual and a turbo that really hauls down the road for that price, you know, and they do handle well. That's how they sell these things. Just the plain Jettas, this is a fancy GLI, and it's an anniversary edition too, but just the plain Jettas, they've sold millions of them because they don't cost much and they're pretty zippy. Now, he was smart. He bought the warranty because, as we look under the hood, this baby's only got 6,000 miles, but he burned in a little oil. He had to add oil to it, and fuel rail was rattling, and Volkswagen had to fix that free, and believe it or not, they also had to replace one of the CV boots because it ripped and the grease leaked out. Now, quality control, these are made in Mexico, realize that. Yeah, getting that extra warranty was probably a smart move. Look at all the plastic. The intake's plastic. There's plastic everywhere. And I guarantee you between now and 10 years from now, if he still has it under warranty, a bunch of this plastic stuff's gonna start breaking. That's what happens with Volkswagens. Door handles, motor parts, they make stuff out of plastic. To build a car that's as fast as this and fun to drive and be able to sell it at a profit for $28,000, of course, you know they're making them in Mexico because the labor's cheaper. There's something there. But there's an awful lot of plastic parts in it that are gonna break when it gets older. I mean, hey, the CV boot already broken. They had to insulate the fuel rail, you know, and it's only got 6,000 miles on it. Even the owner said, you got to get that warranty because, hey, they'll break the bank if you keep them any length of time and don't have a warranty on them. It's got over 225 horsepower, got a turbo on it. It's plenty zippy enough. You get an engine, you put a turbo on, it's going to wear out faster, but then again, he's got a 100,000 mile, 10-year warranty on the engine. So if the turbo blows up, the engine blows up, Volkswagen's going to have to fix it for free. And let's face it, it's already burning oil now, so odds are he's going to cash in on that engine warranty maybe 1 or 2 times between now and 10 years or 100,000 miles. Understand, there's a price to pay to get a lot of power out of an engine like this. They're notorious for being oil burners as they age. That's just because the turbos and the way Volkswagen makes their engines are zippy, but they all tend to burn oil. His friend's got one of those Audi 2 liters, and he says he puts a quart of oil in it practically every time he puts gasoline in it. So, but his friend likes the Audi too, because they're zippy cars. And this is a GLI 40th anniversary. I mean, look, it's beautiful. It's got nice, really comfortable seats, 6-speed manual transmission, and actually quite a bit of room in the back seat. So we'll check the trunk. Okay, so hold on, up it goes. Hey, for a sporty car, look at that. And that's with the seats up. There's a lot of room in this trunk. And the Germans are normally relatively conservative with their paint setups. And I mean, it's a nice gray. It's really nice gray with black trim. Nice wheels. Now, he does complain. It's got crappy hand-cooked tires. As he said, what do you expect when you pay 28 grand for a car? You're not going to get really fancy tires. When these wear out, he'll put better tires on them, right? He's using these. You drive them until they wear out, then put better ones on. There's always something going on if there is a price differential. Take an analogy like Subaru. Subarus make decent cars, but lately they've been really cheapening them down. Instead of putting on regular gaskets, On the valve covers, they're using silicone glue, and then when it leaks, you got to pull the engine out, replace the 2 sets on each side, which is a real pain in the butt. Now, mind you, they don't do it till they get 100-something thousand miles, but still, to sell the Subarus at the lower price they sell them, you get somewhat lower quality, and in this case, they just put lower quality tires on. You can change that anytime you want. So let's take a look inside. Okay, we'll sit inside, and man, these seats are comfy. Got the push button start. It's zippy, and he's a young guy driving fast. He's still got 31.3 miles a gallon driving it. Very nicely integrated screen, not some ugly thing that's stuck on. I gotta say, it's got a good design. 6-speed gearbox for zooming along, and of course, it's got electric parking brake. They all do, and you can change the various modes. Custom driving mode. You can have eco, comfort, normal, sport. Of course, we'll put it on sport because I'm driving it. And aerodynamically, it's set up nice. The heating AC is all just down here. Simple to do. You don't have to keep guessing about 8 million things to set. It's all just simple at your fingertips with actual clicking dials. Not some stupid thing that you got to keep pushing computer buttons. Actual clicking dials, I like that. Backup camera looks pretty good. Nice wide angle. You get a good view if anybody's near you. It even says, look, safe to move. Doesn't have a sunroof, which is fine with me. I think they're stupid anyway. It's got a very smooth idle. Modern technology makes 4-cylinder engines idle nice and smooth. Look, a manual seat. I can move it back, I can move it forward. I don't have to worry about electronics braking. So we got sport mode. Put it in reverse, and here we go. Here we go on the world's worst roads, Rhode Island, at least the United States' worst roads, and we'll see how it handles these bumpity things, and really quite well for a small wheelbase car like this. And I've got it on sport mode. I don't even have it on comfort mode. These are nice handling cars. There's no arguing that. That's how they sell them. So here we go up the hill, and we'll see how zippy this thing is. Here we go. Nice and zippy, especially when that turbo kicks in. Hey, this thing's fun to drive. Not fun to fix, but it certainly is fun to drive. And with this warranty, you don't really have to worry about anything as long as he doesn't run into something. Nice, stable stopping. Gotta say, they're a whole bunch of fun to drive around. There's no arguing that. Just make sure you get the warranty if you buy one brand new and don't have to think about anything for 10 years or 100,000 miles. Steering wheel, it doesn't just look good. It's not just form, it's function too. It's just the right size for doing some serious driving. And the power assist is phenomenal. You don't feel any kind of lag. It doesn't oversteer or understeer. It's a fun car to drive. And unlike the one I tried out the other day that the guy only paid $2,000 for, this one doesn't backfire. It just goes. No popping on this one. The gauges here, oil temperature, everything's set up. It's a nice car for zipping around in for $28,000. Well, he must have been driving it hard, because now, look at me. I was driving it hard. He was driving it harder than me. Now he's getting 39.6 miles a gallon. Now, an interesting sideline here is, it's a turbo, but you're running on regular gas. Look. Regular. You don't need to put high test in. Got power and gas mileage, and you can use the cheap gas. The technology's there today that they can run turbos and fast engines on regular gasoline. You don't need to buy something that's got to run on premium gas. Now, a lot of companies actually lie about it and say they have to run on premium. I've seen tons of people with Acuras. They never put premium and they run perfectly fine. Now they're going to lose a few horsepower. Granted, like the Mustang EcoBoost 4, it's like 340 or something with high test, and then it loses about 40 horsepower with regular gas. But this runs on regular gas. That's all he's running it, and it runs perfectly fine. So this is what you get with a brand new Jetta GLI. Fun to drive, but I mean, I'm thinking 6,000 miles and it's already starting to burn oil. A good thing he bought the warranty. Boy, if I had a car like that, I have cars that are 30 years old and don't burn oil. Yeah, this thing's only got 6,000 100,000 miles. And the CV boot grease came out. They had to replace that. It was under warranty, of course, but that just kind of shows you it's not perfection quality by any stretch of the imagination, but it is fun to drive. He's not going to have to worry about anything for 10 years or 100,000 miles. So what the heck? For 28,000 bucks, something that's this zippy and gets gas mods like that, that's how they sell these things. Volkswagen has sold cars in the United States for a long time because they're zippy, they get good gas mileage, and most people, they hope they don't break. Once that have had the Audi 2-liter turbo, they understand they break and they burn oil. Generally, they don't buy another one, right? But with a warranty, and I would never buy one of these cars without a warranty. I don't care. And this isn't some BS warranty company. This is through Volkswagen. So if the engine tranny blows, they're going to have to replace it. They have no way to get out of it. You don't mind spending that kind of money, and the warranty was only like 1,900 bucks extra. It's definitely worth it. They're a lot of fun to drive. They're nice looking cars, and they are zippy. That's why they sell them to people. These aren't cars that somebody who's going to buy a Corolla or a Toyota Camry are going to buy. They want something that's going to run forever. They don't care too much about too much acceleration. These, they can be a lot of fun. Yeah, they can fall apart, but with a warranty, hey, if you could be like the guy that came over here the other week with the GLI that he only paid a couple $1,000s for and then fixed it up himself if you're mechanically inclined. I mean, this guy even rebuilt the engine and replaced the transmission, so you got to be pretty mechanically inclined. Maybe down the line, when he gets tired of this, some guy will end up buying it and do something like that. But if you want to get one of these things, basically, you're better off buying it new, getting a warranty, and then not having to deal with the Volkswagen dealerships, because if you know anybody who ever dealt with a Volkswagen dealership, they're like, I'm never going back to the Volkswagen dealer. I got to find a German mechanic somewhere else. And there's a lot of guys that work on German cars that don't work at the dealership, know what they're doing. They're going to charge money, of course, but at least you can find some honest guy that isn't crooked as the Volkswagen dealers are. Every time they turn around, they want a small fortune to work on the car. Now, you know what you get with a brand new one. You can decide, you want to spend 28 grand and buy the warranty for an additional 1,900, you got to do that. Or maybe you want something plain Jane. This is not a plain Jane car. We have what's usually a nemesis to me, a BMW. It is a 2021 M440i. It is an extremely fast car. He bought it secondhand with low mileage. You can see it's a beautiful car. He just had it detailed. He just had it done by Q Car Care, and you can see it made it pop. It's a real ceramic. They don't just dribble stuff on. They spray it on. I mean, look at that paint. It's insane. And as we look inside, they did the leather over to, oh, it's unbelievable. The black with the blue stitching. It is a beautiful car. This is one of the two reasons he got it. He loved the color, he loved the car, and under the hood, it's got a double pull latch. They don't want you sneaking in. Now, it is an ultra dependable BMW 6-cylinder engine, 8-speed transmission. ZF makes the best transmissions in the world. This is one fast little car. Now, I understand one thing. This is a driver's car. The man who owns it has never been married, doesn't have kids. He takes ultra care of this thing. But the detail that was done now, he doesn't want to wax a car himself and have to get all the little wax things off with Q-tips because he really wants it to look good. So he paid that company to do it. Now he doesn't really have to do anything for years other than wash and clean. This isn't the usual ceramic coating where somebody sells you a little bottle for 50, 60 bucks, wipe it on. No. This is a spray treatment. They had the car for 3 days doing it. Now, he wanted something that you can drive every day and also drive seriously if you want to go fast. So as you can see, this thing has sport suspension, comfort suspensions, Eco Pro with adaptive and auto high. You can also turn the traction control on or off. You can turn parking aids on and off. Of course, it's got very fancy backup and side view camera. Say it shows even when you open a door how much space you have so you don't hit anything if something's on the side. Camera in the sky watching you. I don't know how they do this stuff, but it's kind of amazing. Of course, they're super comfortable, but it's really the engine, which has a start button down here. I turned the radio off and look, the radio is a regular on-off button and a dial. Hey, I like it. Simple to use, right? But it's the engine, hey. That's what people go for. And the interesting thing is, as a hard driver, check it out. Coming over here on the highway, he got 37.0 miles per gallon. Now it went down because we're idling, wasting gas. So let's turn it off. Those of you like sunroofs, it's got sunroof too. I really don't care for sunroofs, but plenty of room in the back, even though it's only a 2-door. I warned you, engine compartment hot. Open carefully. Reminds me of an old customer of mine with a BMW. She unfortunately didn't know that much about cars, and she opened her BMW hood when it was overheating. She opened the radiator cap and it burnt her all over her face, her arms. So I guess maybe BMW owners have to be warned about stuff like that. I mean, look, even the inside is painted beautifully. German quality. These are made in Germany by Germans. Even though they're low-profile tires, they're not too low-profile tires. There's not any blowouts in them yet, and they handle quite well. And they ride really good if you want to put it in the nice, smooth ride mode. You put it in the sport mode, it's got a rough ride, and you can drive like a maniac. But you want it smooth, just push comfort. Then you got comfort ride. Now, the owner wasn't even looking for one of these things, so when he went in a dealer, they were servicing his car. He said, let me try one of those out. Well, he tried it out. Immediately, he wanted to buy one. But he bought it used and saved a bunch of money. He listened to his father, who also happens to be here today with a Hyundai we're going to check out, a new Hyundai. But his father told him years ago, don't ever get a motorcycle, you kill yourself, because the father had motorcycles. He even had one of those infamous 750 Kawasaki 2-stroke death machines, and his father's got the scars to prove it. So he listened to his father, and he never got a motorcycle. So he likes fast cars instead, which are a lot safer than fast motorcycles. Now he's got one big problem with his car, though, and that's this. He just wants to go to work, but people always want to race him in the car, right? And it is a raceable car. There's no arguing that, but it's an everyday driver too. I like the glow-in-the-dark car. Look, there's the car. The hood's open. You open the door. Woo, look, now the door glows. Well, I can play with that all day long. It goes up to 200 miles an hour, but it does have a speed limiter of 155. He said he hasn't taken it that fast. He's only gone like 135, so plenty fast enough for what anybody needs to drive down the road. I mean, let's face the facts. Now, there aren't that many cars out there this fast that you can actually get 37 miles a gallon. He had it 40 on the highway, but then he had to take some back roads and went down to 37. Phenomenal for a vehicle that has this speed with a 6-cylinder engine that are notorious for lasting forever. It's the inline BMW 6, proving that you can still make a driver's car with an inline 6. Now, back in the day, people were saying, oh, this is too small. Well, now it's a big engine because everybody's going to 4s and 3s. So this engine just keeps rolling along. They had a little power here. This is a single turbo. So let's take it for a spin and see what it does. Look at these fancy seat belts. Watch. We'll take it off. Now watch what happens when we close the door. It comes out. Look at that, space age. You must be comfortable in your BMW. So lock it up. Then it goes back in place. That is cool. At least it is, as long as it still works. There's a nice size glove box. Real comfy armrest. He's added a radar detector. Smart move in a car this fast. Now we'll check out this beautiful backup system that this thing has. Here we go. And you notice it's moving as we do. Although I do have to say, the sky is a false color. It doesn't look that blue. Now, we've got it on the nice suspension, and this thing is riding smooth on these horrible Rhode Island roads. Now we're going to put it in sport mode. And I can feel the bumps now. I'd leave it in this mode for the way we're going for a drive, though. And here we go. Let's listen to that motor. Wow, what a sound. Then we gotta slow down, and it's slowing itself down. It's got that BMW 6-cylinder noise, and hey, it's not obnoxious like Ferraris and stuff, but it shows you mean business. And you listen to that downshift. It is that ZF 8-speed. That's a phenomenal transmission. You can drive it anywhere you want. There we go! Whee! And that's with 1 turbo. Imagine what it would do with 2 turbos. It does make it a little bit faster, but it's insanely fast anyways, so maybe that's overkill. One interesting thing is, you heard the noise. That's why it was in sport mode. When you put it in comfort mode, not only does it ride better because it changes suspension, but it quiets the car down because it's got little electronic stuff on the back that when you go to sport, it opens it up more for a wide open exhaust, and then when you go into comfort, it quiets it down. So if you live in the hoi polloi neighborhood, you can come in quiet, and then when you leave, you can be loud. Now, this is also a 48 volt mild hybrid, so that's where you get the zip, and that's how you can get 37 miles a gallon. And he got 40 on the highway until he started driving on the road. They're BMW 6-cylinder engine. They're going to last a long time. They're not going to fall apart. Now, granted, these cars are for select people who want a car like this. They want something that's got all-wheel drive, phenomenal gas mileage, all kinds of power, beautiful looking car. It's his baby. He's going to take care of it. It's not a car for everyone. It's a driver's car, but he's single, never got married, doesn't have any kids. He really takes care of his vehicles. So, yeah, as this thing gets old, it's going to have a lot of complex problems, especially being a hybrid. But got very few miles on it. From my experience with these things, they generally don't start falling apart till they get well over 100-something thousand miles on them. And since it's only one turbo and not two, that's half the price when you got to replace that. So if you're looking for something that can get gas mileage and have power, and you don't care about spending some money, now he did care some about spending money because he bought it used, saved himself quite a bit of money buying it used, right? And if you do any kind of maintenance yourself, you're going to save yourself a ton of money. But realize this is a mild hybrid BMW turbo. There's a lot of stuff that nobody but a BMW mechanic is going to really mess around with. It's got all the high-tech features he wanted, everything he wanted in a car. He pretty much fell in love with the thing when he saw it and he had to buy it. And hey, he got what he paid for so far. I mean, it's a screamer. It goes fast. It gets great gas mileage. It's a beautiful looking car. It is a BMW. They're very expensive to fix. They're very expensive to buy. They're very expensive to maintain. But hey, if it's your baby and that's what you want to do, there aren't that many of these things going out there. The F-150 Lightning, he was smart. He didn't buy the truck. He's leasing the truck. He's going to have it for a year. Then he says he's going to get rid of it. What is the truth about it? He's told me his experience, so we're going to go through it, use my machine, and tell you the truth about one of these electric pickups. As you can see with my gloves, it's cold outside, okay? In the summer, he can get 300 miles of range out of this thing if he's driving normal stop and go stuff. Now it's cold, normal driving, he's getting 210. You lose a lot of range. Now he doesn't have a house, so he can't get a 220 outlet. If he plugs in the 110 outlet into this thing, it takes 3 days, not hours, 3 days to charge it up. So normally he uses Electrify America. He'll put it up to 90% there, then he comes home and he'll plug it into 110 to get it up to 100%. And interestingly enough, he carries stuff in the bed mainly. And if he carries a couple thousand pounds of tiles or something for his work, he says it really doesn't affect the electric range. The range stays pretty much the same. But he doesn't really tow, because he said towing knocks the heck out of it. A pickup truck that you can't really tow with for long distances. There's a big negative point there. He's got 25,000 miles on it now, and he doesn't have any complaints about the vehicle. The only thing he really had done was he got the tires rotated, but that's a story in itself. He took it to the Ford dealer to get the tires rotated, and when he's driving home, he hears this whoop, 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 and the back wheel fell off because the brilliant mechanics at the Ford dealer didn't tighten the lug nuts, and it fell off. I know Ford has a lot of problems with quality control. They're number one in the last 2 years as the most recalled vehicles on the planet, right? But in this case, I guess they should recall their mechanics too. They can't even rotate tires and put them on. They did have to give them another rim because it got all bashed up when it fell off. He's lucky it didn't scrape down and ruin the battery of the truck too. He didn't buy this thing. He's just leasing it. So in reality, they're not giving these things away by any stretch of the imagination. They got a bunch of them lying around. They thought they were going to sell zillions of them. Well, they haven't. They sold more this year than last year. They're not flying off the shelves to begin with, and in his case, he's going to get rid of it because he decided that, well, he probably made a mistake. He went with his friend, and his friend bought a hybrid Maverick, and now he's thinking, I should have bought a hybrid Maverick too. The only problem is Ford can't build the hybrid Mavericks fast enough because they don't have a supply chain problem with getting the hybrid stuff, and they're selling like hotcakes. These aren't, and a lot of that is because the Maverick is a totally redesigned small truck that gets phenomenal gas mileage and rides more like a car. And basically this thing is a Ford F-150 that's been electrified. Real truck guys want something they can tow, go a really long distance. They don't want something where they got to hassle about charging it. He came here and he said if he would have driven here in a gasoline, it probably would have taken him 4.5 hours. Instead, he said it took him like 9-10 hours to do the same trip. It's just a giant annoyance, and people in pickup trucks don't want to be annoyed. They want convenience. They want something, mainly big truck like this, towing stuff. And they're no good for long distance towing. They can't go far enough because of the electric batteries, especially in the winter. I mean, look at all the range that he lost, from 300 to 210 just because it got cold outside, right? And it's not all that cold now. Imagine if it's 15 degrees below, you're running the heater, you're not even going to get that. I mean, it looks like a Ford truck. It's not like a Toyota Prius where everybody's going to think he's some kind of tree hugger or something. It looks just like an F-150, except when you get inside and you see this gigantic screen. That is a big screen. Hey, this thing isn't messing around. Look at the size of that thing. Like any extended cab, hey, there's tons of room in this thing. It's set up like a regular vehicle. I'll give that to 4. This doesn't look like a Tesla where there's crazy stuff all over the place. This gear shift knob looks just like a regular car. So let's look under the hood here. Oh look, it opens itself. Isn't that convenient? But there's no engine. It's a frunk. Of course, because it's an electric truck. It's got a gigantic battery on the bottom that powers the thing. It takes a while to charge it up. It made his trip 2.5 times as long having to charge it up coming over here. And realize another thing about these electric vehicles. Sure, he's had no problems with this one at all yet. It's only got 25,000 miles on it. See all that junk in here? On top of there is the battery. A humongous battery. If you live up north, he's in Pennsylvania, I'm in Rhode Island here, right? They put salt up the wazoo on the roads in the winter. Eventually, enough salt and the slushy salt will get up and get in there and it will corrode the electrical system. That's just the problem with all electric vehicles these days. Now, if you get a hybrid, like the Toyota Camry hybrid that I showed the other day, it wasn't a plug-in hybrid. That has a battery in the back inside the vehicle. Salt water isn't going to bother it, right? But if you have a fully electric car, almost every single plug-in hybrid where you can plug them in and charge them too when they go 50, 60 miles on electricity and then revert to the gasoline engine, those hybrid plug-ins also have the battery on the bottom. And I see as they age, the salt gets in there and it destroys the electronics. Somebody told Elon Musk, why don't you seal all those batteries? You won't have any problems. Of course, it would cost too much money for him, so he's not doing it. There's the charge port. It plugs right in. I mean, they're simple enough to use. It's not rocket science. So it takes a tremendous amount of electricity to push this thing around. Doesn't matter how much aluminum and fiberglass they use. These are very heavy vehicles, and they are going to use a lot of electricity. He found out that what he spent on electricity driving down here, it would have been cheaper buying gasoline. They always said, oh, it's so much cheaper with electric vehicles. No, it isn't. Now, he uses Electrify America because he pays a $5 a month membership to use it. But if he went to some other fast charger when he's traveling, he said he has to pay almost twice. So let's say he bought $25 worth of electricity to get up to 90% with Electrify America. If he was using a different one, he says it often cost him over $50 to get the same amount of electricity. Realize there's no standardization of these things. They can charge whatever they want. It's not like there's 50 gas stations. This is too expensive. I'll go to another one. Not you looking here. No, there you are. And they sort of got you by the short and curlies, and they can charge you whatever they want for that electricity. Now, he wants to see what shape this thing's in, so I'm going to get my fancy computer out. Now, I got to say, at least, look, it's got an OBD port like a regular vehicle, unlike a Tesla. It's not a European Ford. We'll do a standalone diagnosis. You can see it's F-150 battery electric vehicle, 110 to 180 kilowatt hours. Okay. See, it's going to do a full topology scan of everything. Electric vehicles, you need a fancy computer. So while it's doing it, let's look inside. I mean, it's nice looking. Nice looking truck, right? Look at that. It's 100% already. It was that fast. Now, it's probably wacky things. Let's see what the codes are. There's 4 codes. off-board charger controller. See, he was at a station that didn't work, and that's just, it remembers the code, so we'll erase that. You're going to get all kinds of wacky codes. He tried using one charging station and it wouldn't work. Supposedly Ford and Tesla have this deal to use the Tesla charging right. He tried it with an adapter. It didn't work, and that's probably why he got that code. Let's look at the other crowd here. Battery energy control module. See what the trouble code is. Hybrid EV battery voltage external isolation fault. That could easily have to do with when he plugged it in and it didn't work, so we're going to erase that too. So it's got a problem with the HVAC system, heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. Let's see what that code is. Circulation damper motor. Well, you don't want to tear this dash apart, but it gets cold. Sometimes those stick, so we'll erase that too. And the last one is headlight control module. We'll see what those trouble codes are. Right headlight swiveling motor didn't swivel right. Oh, maybe it got frozen with ice. Who knows? We'll erase that too. Gives you all kinds of information. Look at this. Hard braking hysteresis. 1 meter second A2. Look at some serious stuff here. Powertrain control module. Can be all kinds of information. You can see just even the loading it is taking a little time. And I gotta say, it's got one big screen. You want a large screen, there it is. But I like the idea, the screen's over here, but your driving information is here, like a regular vehicle. And here we go through some big amount of information here. He wanted to see what kind of shape the battery system was in, so you can see there's going to be an awful lot of information here. Because these are all things to check. Module secondary faults, module faults, or clutch pedal. There's all kinds of things that this thing is continuously checking while you're driving down the road. Internal control module, secondary monitor fault. Off-chip watchdog, frequent reset. Chip watchdog mutual interrogation. Well, these things are getting to be something else. We're going to whisk through it. You'll see. Here's the kind of information these things have. Look at this data. It's insane. Look at it. It just keeps going and going and going. That's how much data these things have. It will make anyone's head spin. Well, everything was totally normal. I mean, the thing's only got 25,392 miles on it. Well, the owner just told me an interesting thing before we take it for a spin. They can remotely shut this thing down if you don't make a payment. Now, they can't shut it down while you're driving, but once it's stopped, they can shut it down so you can't start it up. So don't think you're going to get one of these and not make any payments and drive down to Mexico, because they will turn you off. Now, we can't drive like maniacs because 107 miles an hour is it. It won't let you go any faster, so we won't be setting any speed records. I imagine if you really went faster, it would run out of electricity like no tomorrow. That is one heck of a backup camera. I mean, look at it. It is a nice camera, but it feels like a regular truck. It's not that crazy Tesla stuff with all these screens and buttons you got to push. It's something to be in an F-150 that's this quiet. I'm used to rattling F-150s. This thing is quiet. There's no arguing that. If you're going to a charging station, it's cold outside, while you're going, it will automatically by itself here warm up the battery. So if you don't know anything about charging electric cars, if the battery's cold, the charger has to charge the battery. First it has to warm it up before it charges it. Then it takes more time. So by this way, it pre-warms it up, and you won't spend quite as much time charging it back up. Well, this guy's out of the way, and we'll give it some gas. Whee! Yes, it does go, people. It goes a lot faster than a V8 Ford. Just realize if you drove this thing like I was driving it, you'll probably get about 75, 80 miles, and you will run out of electricity, because super acceleration wears batteries and motors out fast. They're great at lower speeds. We'll try the little acceleration again. Whee! Man, this thing goes. I gotta say, if I was driving it, I'd be charging it up most of the time, because I'd use all the power out. It is wicked fast. You want to pass somebody, step on the gas, and away you go, just like a roller coaster. Okay, so what do I think? It definitely is wicked fast. And as the owner said, the build quality of this thing is pretty good. Solid, doesn't rattle, right? Ford makes over 90% of their profit on the F-150s. On these, they're losing tons of money. They're probably losing something like $35,000 for every one that they sell, because Ford is not in the electric business. They're trying to get into the electric business. Maybe they should be more like Toyota and think about hybrid, because their Maverick hybrids are selling like hotcakes, right? If I were you and you're looking for a truck, I'd look at a Ford Maverick Hybrid myself. As it stands, I mean, an interesting vehicle, there's no arguing that. But they're not selling that many of them. They have real serious range problems when it's cold versus it's hot outside, and of course, real range reduction if you're towing. And what do people buy F-150s for? Generally, towing heavy-duty things. It's got the power, but it doesn't have the range if you're really pulling serious things. It is wicked fast, right? You want to race people in pickup trucks, you're going to win, at least until you get to 107 miles an hour, right? For a practical work truck, you know, I'd look elsewhere. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.